There was much to be discovered in the early 20th century. Many great scientists and mathematicians hungered for discovery and answers. There was one brilliant mind that stood out amongst the many men that she studied alongside. Maria Skłodowska, later to be known as Maria Curie, was the first female in history to receive a Nobel Prize, and with that the only female to win both, one for physics and for chemistry. Marie's determination to further develop her education was hatched at a young age. She was born in Warsaw, Poland, November 7, 1867. Her mother and father were both teachers. They ensured that Marie and her four older siblings would receive a proper education and complete their schooling. Marie showed determination and drive at a young age, as she was very involved in her studies. Even the loss of her mother when Marie was 10 didn't break her spirit. Marie traveled through school at the top of her class until she was unable to attend the all-male University of Warsaw. She saw this as a slight speed bump on her adventure through the education system. Marie and one of her sisters took it upon themselves to further their education in secrecy with many others by attending underground classes. The formation was called the Floating University. Although Marie and her sister continued to learn, the itch of going abroad and finishing a degree festered through them. They wanted nothing more than to properly finish their schooling, but money was scarce. So, Marie proposed that she would work to support her sister through school, and in return, when her sister finished her studies, she would support Marie. Marie worked as a governess full-time and on the side worked as a tutor. During this time, she never fell out of routine of study, as on her spare time was often found reading about physics and chemistry. Marie's eating habits took a toll on her health, as her diet mostly consisted of bread and butter. But not all was lost when she finally found herself in Paris, where she enrolled in Sorbonne in 1891. By the year 1894, Marie had degrees in both physics and mathematics. In search of a lab to carry out her commissions to study different types of steel and their magnetic properties, Marie was introduced to a French physicist by the name of Pierre Curie. The two grew very fond of each other and soon married in 1895. The Curies were a power couple devoted to their one true love of science, and there was much to be discovered. They started up their studies involved in separate projects. Marie continued the work of Henri Becquerel, who discovered that uranium casts off rays. Curie conducted her own experiments revealing that uranium rays are constant no matter the condition or form. She theorized that this was due to the element's atomic structure. The Nobel winner established this as radioactivity to describe the phenomenon. Marie and Pierre gave birth to their first child, Irene, in 1897. But this did not slow the amazing duo down. Pierre quickly put aside his own research on a quest to help his wife. With two great minds working together, it wasn't long before results were recorded. The results finally came in 1898. The discovery of a new radioactive element called polonium was founded. They named this after Marie's native country of Poland. The couple were in a discovery drought until early in the year of 1902, when they found a new radioactive element called radium. News of their life-changing discovery broke out around the world. In the year 1903, Marie Curie became the first female to receive a Nobel Prize for physics. With this, there was no question that the money the two received went into research funds. With this, another gift was given to the Curies, as they were blessed with another baby girl the following year. The two named their second child Eve. Along with their great accomplishments came a great loss, as Pierre Curie passed away in 1906. A horse and buggy accident in the streets of Paris took his life. Still, this did not turn Marie away from her studies, as she took on her late husband's position as the first female professor at Sorbonne. But the future brightened for Marie. In 1911, she and her late husband received a second Nobel Prize for chemistry in the discovery of polonium and radium. As years continued and World War I neared, Marie devoted her time towards aiding men in combat. Her efforts were nothing short of amazing when she engineered a portable X-ray machine. These devices were quickly nicknamed Little Curies. These little Curies saved many lives and shortened many more hours of infirmity for men. Eventually, the long exposure to these radioactive elements took a toll on Marie's health. Maria Curie passed away on July 4, 1934, from aplastic anemia. This is a deficiency in blood cells that is caused by failure of bone marrow development. In 1995, both Marie and her husband were laid to rest in Pantheon in Paris. The drive that Marie had was shared with her daughter Irene, as she too won a Nobel Prize for her efforts in chemistry in the year 1935. Now that we know a bit about Marie and her story of life, let's try to begin to understand her hard work. As I talked about earlier, Marie began her studies based off Henri Becquerel's work on rays being emitted from specific elements. She found that minerals that contained uranium and thorium emitted radiation. She was the first to use the phrase radioactivity when addressing radioactive elements. As Curie furthered in her studies, she used ore that she called pitchblende. She found the element uranium in the ore, but she recorded very high radioactive rays that were much stronger than what uranium could emit by itself. She recorded no trace of thorium in the blend. Marie came to the conclusion that the pitchblende must contain more radioactive material. As Marie came to this conclusion, her husband Pierre became very interested in his wife's work. He put a pause in his own production to help Marie in her research. The two together spent hours of breaking down the pitchblende into manageable amounts. Just a couple grams. They ended up doing this with tons of the ore by the end of their experiments. Marie had to design a way to separate the radioactive element from the other minerals in the mixture. Marie began separating the mixture by adding acid into 100 grams of pitchblende. Bubbles were formed, and Marie knew that this meant a mineral in the ore was reacting with acid. The acid was then breaking down the ore. When the solution was filtered, the remaining solid was separated from the mixture. The couple then had to separate into teams, one to test the liquid for radioactivity and one to test the solid. The liquid was found to have no radioactive qualities. The remaining solid was recorded to make up the radioactivity that was detected earlier. The steps to separate the minerals were done over and over again for many years. She was often found stirring the mixture of ore and acid at late hours in hope of a final product. While battling long hours and working with dangerous material, Marie was also pregnant with her first child. Following this, in the year 1898, polonium was discovered, and soon after this, in 1902, radium was found. The couple's efforts had paid off. The two found that their new radioactive elements illuminated amongst the darkness. Today, traces of polonium can be found in cigarette smoke due to the ingredient phosphate fertilizers. It is also found in nuclear weapons. This element can also reduce static charges.